Well, Ian, delighted to welcome you to Cheltenham Town, the new assistant manager. How does it feel, first of all, to be here?
I'm pleased to be back in football. I'm pleased to be working with someone like Daryl. I've known him a very long time, since playing days at Mansfield actually. So that tells you how old I am, because I wasn't quite a senior pro, but he was an apprentice. Talking this morning, I'm not sure whether actually he cleaned my boots, but we can't quite remember back that far. But it's a great club from what I've seen and spoke about already. I think there's some real genuine people here. The players, from what I've seen, have all bought into what Clarke is doing and enjoying themselves, playing with a smile on their face.
And you mentioned that relationship with Darrell. How key is that in bringing you to the club in the first place?
I think it is. I think it's someone that he knows, someone he can rely on, maybe someone he can trust. I think that's always important with your staff members, and I think it's something I've always looked at when I've been manager, to have someone alongside me that's also been a manager, had that experience. You tend to see things, at times where the manager hasn't got to get involved with things. You can have a conversation somewhere, and not let him worry about stuff like that. So it's I think it's one where you bounce off each other and ideas go back and forth, and I think it's good to to have different people of different skill sets, and I think I'm probably a little bit quieter than Clarke, and maybe a bit less emotional at times, but nonetheless, hopefully we can work well together.
And you've had a couple of days to see the squad, not loads to go off, but what are your first impressions of what you can see in front of you?
Yeah, loads of enthusiasm. A lot of boys that have got a lot of years ahead of them, actually, I think, and will have really good careers if they carry on the trajectory that they're having. They've got senior pros that will guide them, and really good trusted senior pros as well. And I think there's a real good blend with everybody here, and all I can see is that the club continues upwards with what they've done, especially after such a difficult start. Everybody knows about that, but from what I've heard, it's a totally different place now.
The gaffer spoke a couple of weeks ago about finding the right person, and he's not going to, as much as the gaffer, he's not going to be choosing his mates. He's putting it purely on the coach. So I suppose that puts testament to his opinions of you as a coach.
Yeah, it's one of those where we've never really been friends as such, apart from your work colleagues, but you sort of see each other from time to time, but no, never worked together before. So and it's something that he impressed on me. So I'm not going to just bring mates in for the sake of it. And he's obviously had a look at my experience, where I've worked, what I can perhaps bring to the group, and what I can bring to him and the rest of the staff. And it's for me, it's great that someone like that can put a trust in me, and I've now got to repay that faith.
You mentioned the squad having some younger lads with years ahead of them, and the senior lads as well. You've worked sort of both sides of the coin with the Northern Ireland senior team and in the 21s as well. How important is it for you to be able to bring in that view from sort of both sides, both the senior game and the academy sort of side?
Yeah, I enjoy working with young players. I love the fact that you can see them progress and get a move maybe, or go on to bigger and better. And if you've played a small part in that, it gives you a certain amount of satisfaction as a coach. The senior boys, you hope that they're really good role models for those younger players. From what I've seen, we have got really good role models, and to work with those guys as well. I think it's great to be able to put little things in, give them one or two pointers as well that adds to their game. You never stop learning, and for me, I played till I was 38, 39, and continued learning right up to my last game. So it's important that you get a good blend of that, and I enjoy working with players who just want to be attentive to what they're doing.
We'll touch on your time at Northern Ireland. I know you've said publicly that you felt that it ended maybe prematurely. How eager have you been to get yourself back into coaching the last couple of years?
Yeah, but I've not wanted to jump straight back into something that's not been quite right. That's not to say I've not gone for jobs and I've been turned down, which I have, and that's the nature of football. But there's also been one or two which I've not felt quite right to go into. I spoke to Clarke. I looked at this club. I looked at how they'd started. Whenever I've played against Cheltenham, it's always been a real good feel about it as a community club. Somewhere similar to Scunthorpe, where I ended my playing days and began my coaching days, and a club that if you get it going, there's a real feel-good factor around the place. Whatever happens with the football club generally tends to, fall onto the city, the town, and I think this gives me that same sort of feeling as well. So to be back in at a club that enjoy working for the people, good owners, good people who really care about the club, and that makes I think you feel better about your job.
And just lastly, you mentioned that feel-good factor. Daryl has brought that to the town, to the club in the last couple of months, and it's your first opportunity to see that and the fans in action this Saturday.
He's had a lot of, I would say, good press, and quite rightly so, because he's taken the club from, I don't think too many managers or coaches will want to come in taking a club that only had 1 point after 11 games, was it? No goals. Darrell's picked it up, scruff of the neck, and dragged people along with him, and got smiles back on faces. And I think we're in a position where, for me, we've got a great chance of getting out of it, and looking upwards in the table and not below. It starts by, for my time here, starts with a game against a team in the bottom four with us. So take points off them, and we continue looking upwards.
Ian, welcome to Cheltenham Town.
Thanks very much.